Hello, domo, and welcome to the video. In this video, I will be teaching you how to make an emote. Yes, emotes. The quintessential streamer hype thingy. I don't have a script for this. But yes, so if you've ever been in another person's stream, you should have seen like people spamming emotes in chat or like just having emotes there. If you have Gapagen on Stream Elements, you'll be able to have emotes flying around when people type them in chat, which is really fun for people to look at, and I think they really look good in clips. So usually you will only be able to do emotes for Twitch or YouTube if you're a YouTube partner or a Twitch affiliate or partner. But actually you can go around that by having BDTV up. I'll try to make a video for it in the future. But basically, BDTV allows you to have 15 free emotes whether you're an affiliate or a partner or not. And as long as the people watching your stream have the extension, you and your viewers will be able to see and use the emotes. Just an extra tip, I guess, if you are thinking about having emotes but you don't really think that you'll need it anytime soon. BDTV is a nice workaround for if you haven't hit those milestones that unlock a lot of the slots. There's also a lot of limits with Twitch emotes, since if you're not partner, you only get a set amount. But yes, moving on, the main point of this video is teaching you how to draw an emote from start to finish. We will be working on this emote, and it is advised that you already know how to use drawing programs and do know a little bit of drawing. If you don't, this could still be useful to you if you do want to start working on getting better at art. This video is sort of for people who are more on beginners already in digital art and know a little bit about it already, but maybe in the future I'll make a video talking about more specific details on how to use these programs for people who are completely new to the digital art space. Since I make videos teaching people how to be VTubers or kind of along those lines, I think getting into art would be very helpful if you're a broke tuber like me, because assets are not cheap to have made or to commission. So if you can get started on building up your art skill, it will really help you out in the future to save money as well as make the things you want to do. And hey, art is a really good skill to learn. I think it's very much applicable to any field that you get into. So yeah, just get into it, I guess. It's easier said than done, but that's really what art is. You just kind of get started and practice and learn things from the internet. There's so much tutorials out there, and I'm hoping to make more art tutorials in the future. But yeah, let's go ahead. I've kind of drawn out this introduction way too much. Let's go ahead and start the tutorial. So first of all, I start with a square canvas. This one is 800 by 800. You can make it bigger or smaller depending on what you want to use it for after. For emotes, technically you just need a smaller canvas, but I used a bigger canvas because I made a cropped and uncropped version, and in this video I do actually start drawing it before it is cropped, and then afterwards for the emote I just cropped it a little smaller to show the face a little more. Preferably when you're making an emote, you would like a close-up of the face because they do get resized a lot for use in chat, because the text is really small, so the emotes need to be around the same size as the font. You actually can skip having too much detail in your emotes if you're just gonna keep it small, but I wanted to use my emote for other things, like for thumbnails, so I made the size a little big, and I also sort of invested some time into the details, which you can sort of skimp over if you would rather just focus on making it into an emote, which is completely fine too, but I am a little lazy. So I try to use most of my assets for different purposes if possible. So that's just what I'm doing for this particular emote. So to begin, I make a tiny square within the bigger square. This is to sort of simulate the crop. This is what I did so that I can estimate where the face will be cropped while also still drawing the full image past the crop of the emote. This is a skippable step if you do not want to use your emote for anything else, but this is also quite a nice tip if you're drawing other things for illustrations and stuff. I know a lot of artists who also add like a little margin area so that they can spill their drawing over and then be able to just cut it out later when they're fixing the composition at the very end. Before making your emote, you should probably give some thought on what actual emote that you want. Or maybe you already have an idea at this point in the video. I recommend thinking about what emotes you really like using in other people's streams when you're thinking of what emotes you should make for yourself. So in my case, I have a lot of emotes from my past designs that I don't currently use that much anymore. There's a lot of them. And they still haunt me. Yeah, I really should redesign those sometime soon. Maybe in a future video, but for now, let's get back to making our chibi emote. So to begin with, when I'm drawing a chibi, I usually begin with these shapes. I don't know how to explain them. They're sort of like gumdrops or like little balls of clay, or I guess that's not really the best explanation for that, but this is just a simple shape that I like to start with. I sort of draw this guy to sort of figure out where the eyes will go and where the middle of the face will be. So I just start drawing the eyes. I draw the hands as little balls because we're not here for the details. Details can come later, it's just a sketch. So we're just focusing on the overall feel of the emote and the overall expression. So I'm just drawing the face. I am not the best at drawing symmetrical faces, but we're doing digital art, so we can trust the process and just fix it up later. When I am working on chibi faces, I tend to use rounder shapes if possible, if it fits the expression of course. And I try to go big for the eyes, but not too big, though I guess it depends on you, it might be a style you prefer. I like to draw a little dot for the nose of chibis. I think it's just cute, but some people don't draw noses for their chibis, which is fine too. This is just how I like to do it. So once I'm done with the expression of the face, I start just polishing the sketch a bit more and making some adjustments to make everything balanced. You want to sort of iron out the expression while you're still in the sketch phase so that later when you're doing line art, you don't have to keep changing a lot of things. I say that, but I am also a person who tends to make a lot of changes later on. I'm just saying it probably will be easier for you if you can finalize most of your details in your sketch stage. Once I'm done with the face, I start working on the other details. I change the ears to fit my own, and then also start drawing a little bit of the outfit that will be shown in the emote. Now that the body's mostly done, I do resize the image a bit more to sort of fit it towards the crop of the smaller square. And then I start drawing the hair with a different color on a different layer. I recommend this so that you can easily see the hair a bit more and you won't get too distracted by the guide. This is a pretty good tip if you're doing digital art, is just to make use of the availability of having different layers in your art program and just going into different layers when you're working on different parts and different details of your image, especially during the sketch stage because it gets a little messy. Once I'm satisfied with how my sketch looked, I merged all of the layers and then did Ctrl+B to turn the layer blue. If your program doesn't have this, because this might be a Clip Studio only thing, you can turn on Preserve Opacity or Alpha Lock on your program. If you don't know how to access that, most art programs should have it. You can Google it. Don't ask me down in the comments if it's not Clip Studio. Sometimes I just don't have the answer. Google is out there. You just type your art program and then type Alpha Lock or Preserve Opacity. Alpha Lock or Preserve Opacity basically makes it so that the only thing that you can draw on that particular layer are the parts that you have already drawn on earlier. So it locks any of your brush strokes onto the things that are already on your layer. Once you have found how to use Alpha Lock or Preserve Opacity, you can now fill your layer with a single color. I recommend this shade of blue or a light shade of blue or whatever color you like that doesn't hurt your eye and won't conflict with the color of the line art you'll be using. So if you're someone who's not very good at line art, who's not very used to it, or if you don't like it like me and you want to do some clean line art, I do recommend using a lighter pressure to when you draw. Just draw your lines lightly, and if you're having trouble drawing round circles or complicated shapes that you find, just draw them in small parts, chopped up tiny lines, and then just collect them later. That's what I do. And then if you manage to draw a thick line, I would say go over it with like an eraser and just just erase the thicker parts that sort of make the lines a little less balanced. That's what I do. And sometimes if the lines don't feel quite right when you're drawing them, you might have to rotate your screen or zoom in or just like adjust your canvas to work for your arm, you know? Don't move your arm around and try to make it more complicated for your own limbs. Just move the canvas. The canvas is movable. And that will make it a little bit easier. If you're working on the next part of the body, I would recommend, once again, drawing with a different colored pen. This will just help you focus on certain parts first and sort of ignore the other layers without actually having to, erase the layers and still see the overall picture. So that's what I usually do. I separate the line art by changing the color. And I also do recommend having several layers for like the face, for the head, for the hair, just so if you need to make any adjustments, you won't have to like redo the line art all over again. Yeah, until you finalize the line art, it is quite recommended to have more layers, you know. You won't lose much from having just more layers, but not too many layers, unless you're into that. You weirdo. Alright, so going back, we continue to do the line art. Just finish the line art. I spent way too long on the line art, so this is sped up really fast, and so that you don't have to like watch me struggle all the way. But if it's too fast, maybe slow the video down. There's not really a lot of other tips I can share, so maybe I'll just be quiet until the next part of the video. I'll probably put some timestamps, so just skip this part if you don't want to see the line art, okay? Okay, now that you're done, now that I'm done with the line art, I select everything outside. I sort of closed off my line art, though you can't see it because I clipped the line art onto the little square that was in the beginning of the video. You know, it's been there this whole time, but you might have forgotten about it. Anyway, I just sort of select the outside of that and then invert the layer. And once you've done that, just fill the selection. Here I sort of messed up. There are some parts that were probably supposed to be unselected, but those are pretty easy to reselect again and just erase. So I just did that using the magic wand tool. For the next step, you don't have to do it. It's just something I particularly started doing in my later emotes, is to add an outline. So what I did was make a folder with the line art and the color that we did earlier. We call that the flat color that is within the selection of the line art. And then I just did the border effect that Clip Studio has to just automatically make a border for the things inside the folder. So I don't know the equivalent for this in other programs. You might have to skip this step or think of another way to do it. If anybody has any suggestions of how it could be done for another program, please leave it down in the comments below for other people to see. The border effect is really quite handy and it's one of my favorite features of Clip Studio Paint. But yeah, moving on, we're gonna start coloring the line art. Here I start using this lasso tool that colors and fills in within line art. It's a pretty nice tool, but it was also not quite working for the line art that I had. So after using it for the hair, I just started coloring everything normally. I found it easier to use the magic wand tool or to just use the paint bucket tool and just fill out the little gaps that might not be covered. I have area scaling on, which allows the pixels to expand a little beyond the lines and stuff. But it's not foolproof because it's just generated depending on how your image is, and sometimes you might have to like make adjustments. For the eye whites, I had to color them in manually because I didn't really draw that in the line art. I started out with a gray and then just lightened the eye whites because the gray was easier to see on the skin color. And now I just preserve opacity again and just shade in the shadows of the eye whites. I try not to make too many layers with my colors. Okay, that's a lie. I do have many layers when it comes to colors, but if I can do it all in one layer, I just use preserve opacity to sort of limit myself to just painting on top of the colors. Depending on how the coloring is being done, sometimes I might need to do a clipping mask on top to sort of do a multiply so I don't have to guesstimate the colors. I might have to tackle a lot more of those other digital art terms in a future video. So I basically just do this for the rest of the coloring. I make a different layer, I color in some of those parts. Here I'm drawing the sparkle of the eye, little star in the eye. Actually forgot to do it in the line art, and so I'm just doing the line art here in a separate layer and then coloring in the white, and then I merge them down and just copy paste it to the other eye. So for when I'm coloring the hair, I do a little gradient using an airbrush to sort of have that two-toned gradient color hair. Even if your hair isn't a gradient, I think that doing a gradient between like the color of your hair and then like a darker shade of it underneath is quite nice. I didn't do it for this one because I kind of forgot. And I just did the shading over it with a multiply layer on top of the layer where the color of the hair is. I tried not to make the hair coloring too complicated because it really won't be visible too much. I just wanted it to look good. So I didn't render it much and I decided to just go into the highlights very quickly after doing a bit of like multiply color blending and stuff. After coloring the hair, I realized that the line art looked really thin and I thought that it didn't really stand out very much, so I did the technique of duplicating the line art and doing a Gaussian blur so that there's a nice kind of fuzziness to the line art and it makes the line arts look a little thicker. So I just did that very quickly and then I went back to coloring after. You can sort of see the difference a little when I toggled it a bit there. And then I go back and I start coloring the ears, just a nice orangey hue. This is another one of those things that that the line art did not cover because the ears did not have full line art. So that one I had to color manually. Then afterwards I clipped another layer on top of the hair color, and then I started doing a nice little outline shine or whatever this is called, basically just like a shine on the corner of the hair. So I did like a light blue because it matched the hair color quite well. For the hair shine, I usually use light blue or yellow depending on what hair color the character's hair is. And then I just added this sort of skin airbrush area in the middle of the bank. So basically where the hair will touch the skin, around that area I would add like a light gradient of whatever the skin tone is, and I would lighten that. It's a quite nice effect depending on the hair color, and usually you'd like to pick the redder color of the skin and not the actual skin color, so it'll add like this nice transparent feeling to the hair. I almost forgot to mention, but you should probably lower the opacity of that skin airbrush as well on top of the hair. You don't want it to be too pronounced, you just want it to slightly show up there. And then I start coloring, and I started adding some shine on the gloves and darker parts of the outfit. Basically, I just started shading the outfit. I added some lights that are also blue, and just added some shading on the shirt. I add more details and sort of color in the gold. For the gold, I did like an orange on top of the kind of more desaturated gold, and just sort of made a pattern for that. It's not very detailed because I'm like, it's not going to be very visible. So I sort of just skip over that. And then I add a bit more minor shading in random places. And then we're done. The way I colored this chibi was not usually how I color things. There's a lot less shadow contrast thingies that I've done, and it's quite simple. But that's just what an emote is. I think for emotes, you want to keep the colors a little more simpler, not too much. Here is the final part that I'm just sort of cropping and also editing some final details. I add these sparkles that I think I do keep them in the final emote. I'm sorry if this is a sort of rushed tutorial. Do you feel rushed? Because I feel a little rushed doing the voiceover right now. But I didn't want to make the video too long. This process was about 2 hours long, and I am a very slow artist usually, and I found it quite boring to watch the video in its regular time, so I've rushed it. You can sort of see around the video that I put some speed markers, like how much I've sped up that part of the video, and it's usually to match the tips that I'm giving at that very moment. You know, I don't want you to be disillusioned that I work this fast. Art takes time, and if you're moving slowly or if you're like working through your details, you don't have to work as fast as I am working in this video, because that's not the normal speed that I usually work in. At the very end, I just crop my canvas to fit the emote, and then I just save it in this size. Don't forget to remove your background. It needs to be slightly transparent, unless you don't want that, because I guess some emotes do not have a transparent background, but usually they do. Just keep it transparent and save it as a PNG. I think YouTube and Twitch will resize it for you if your image is too big, but Discord won't. I think Discord requires you to have like a smaller file already. I could be wrong since this is from my memory, but usually most of them will not take your emote if it's not a exact square. So your width and height of your canvas or your image has to be the same. But that's about it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this helped you out somehow, even though it's a little fast. I know that we have short attention spans, and this already might be too long of a video anyway. And yeah, good luck on working on your emotes. If you want to see any other video from me, or any other emotes, or any other kind of tutorial, do tell me in the comments below. I do read them. Sometimes I don't reply because I get several comments that are the same, and then I run out of responses. And I'm also very socially awkward, and I basically put off replying until I don't end up replying, because I'm like, oh, it's been a week, it's kind of awkward if I reply now. So there's that. If you do want to talk to me directly, I appreciate everyone who drops by my stream, and we can have a proper conversation there, kind of. I've started streaming on Twitch again, so check out my Twitch, because I stream there when I just want to be a mess and I don't want to schedule my YouTube streams. It might be a little sporadic for now. I don't have a proper schedule yet, but I'm trying to figure that out. I still do stream on YouTube occasionally, but most of my art streams and more of my casual streams are on Twitch. I've decided to just stream more of my gameplay or maybe my collabs on YouTube because I do want to watch those for myself, and I don't really make much money from streaming on YouTube anyway, so it's, it's about the same when I play games on Twitch, since people like my art streams a lot more. Which is fine. I have accepted that. I also really like watching art streams a lot more than gaming streams anyway, so I cannot judge you, for I am the same. Yeah, and I hope to be making more videos soon. I've been a little busy these past 2 months trying to do things, and now I'm sort of like panicking. This is my life update for people who don't go to my streams, okay? I'm sort of panicking because my rent is being raised and I'm hoping to move out soon, so there's a bit of scramble there. But this video was recorded last month. I was hoping to edit it by last month, but I got a little overwhelmed with everything and editing freaked me out, and so I only released it now. And I have a couple more videos that I still haven't edited, and I hope to also make live 2D tutorials soon since I've gotten back into working on that, since I'm gonna reopen Vtuber commissions, since I'm a little short on money and I need to move out. So yeah, I guess if you're interested in maybe commissioning me when they do reopen, or at least seeing the prices, do follow me on Twitter, because that's probably where I will be promoting my prices and stuff. I still haven't quite settled on the price, but I have changed them from my previous commissions. Those were kind of underpriced. I did not price them very well and didn't think it through very well, and it's my fault that I had financial instability for a couple of months where I was struggling to sort of make a good income and also maintain my own mental and physical health. So now I am sort of adjusting it according to the recommendation of other artists who do live 2D model commissions. So yeah, I will be changing that up and making it more sustainable for me as a VTuber parent. So there is that. So look forward to that. And I do make videos on being budget friendly for VTubers, so I will still make tutorials on how to make your own VTuber model probably in the future. Because I do know that not everyone has the money to commission models, but if you do have the money and if you are interested in having a VTuber model, this video is probably not the best advertisement since I'm using a PNG, since it's a lot easier for me to do voiceovers when I just have a PNG. Doing it this way sort of helps me streamline the editing process a little more, and I don't have to do so many retakes as if I had to sort of do the lip sync properly. So there is that. My videos are not really scripted since I can't really follow a script because my brain. So yeah, it's a little too hard for me to do it with a VTuber model, so not the best advertisement, but I'll make a proper one when my commissions do open up. So yes, this has been extended too long. I will stop. That's about it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Like, comment, and subscribe if it helped you out, or I don't know, just do it to help my channel, please. That's about it. またね、じゃあね、バイバイ、再见。